Hey everybody, I got asked a question and it was a pretty good one, so I figure I'll go ahead and field this one. A subscriber asked me, what motivates me to do what I do? Why do I just go out looking for just these crazy ass people and show them off, put them on display? And it's not really a matter of I go out looking for people to make fun of or anything like that. It's a little bit deeper than that, and it actually touches on one of the issues that like Together for Peace was talking about recently, where he said people who make fun of religion are just out for revenge. We've been hurt by religion, so we want to stick it to everybody else. We just want vengeance. And he's dead wrong. And so that is kind of what my motivator is. Just a little background on me, because this is a new channel and got a lot of new subscribers. Probably don't know me from Adam. At one time, I was ordained as a Baptist minister. I was wanting to be a missionary, travel the world, do all this stuff. I was never a pastor at a church. I didn't have my own church or anything like that. I could give sermons, at the church. I could teach classes, things like that, go to other churches, as a guest speaker, stuff like that. But as the more I got into it and the deeper I looked into it, as far as proving to people in foreign countries that I was going to go deal with, what's wrong with Hinduism, what's wrong with Islam, I had to know all these things. And in the process of finding out what's wrong with all these other religions, I found out what's wrong with Christianity too. And Christianity couldn't stand up to my own criticism or even scrutiny. So, it eventually led to me just dropping it all and just walking away. And it wasn't that I just became an atheist and, said, screw this shit. I wasn't mad at God or anything like that. It was just, a lack of evidence. It just, to me, it looked like, I'd been told a lot of things, that I had taken for granted for all this time, and all of a sudden I just realized, it's not true. It's crap. I've been, lied to, about a lot of this stuff. And a lot of things that were, you'd ask questions and they would give you answers, and, later you would realize that, they didn't answer that question you just gave. They just made something up, or they just repeated what somebody else made up. There was no substance there at all. And so that led to me just kind of walking away from it. And about 20 years went by, and I just never really gave it a whole lot of thought. It was just it was just one of them things. I just didn't believe that crap no more. And the thing that kind of got me lit a fire under me and got me talking about it happened. I was working construction, and I worked for a guy. Me and him were pretty good friends. Me and his brother were worked really close a lot. And his dad would work with us every now and then. His dad was, older guy, retired, and he would just come in on certain jobs. If we needed a hand, here's another guy. So, I knew him for a couple of years. And, we were decent enough friends, no bad blood between us, nothing like that. If he needed, work on something at his house, he knew he could call me. I'd come over and, help him knock it out. And I was the same way. If I needed a hand or something, I could call him. We weren't like drinking buddies, but we were, really good acquaintances. And one day, him and his son got into an argument about something. And I was, working in away from them a little ways. I don't know what the argument was about. It was drinking or something, I think was what it was. And so the son kind of got, had enough of the argument and kind of stomped off, got in his truck and drove off, leaving just me and the dad there on the job site. And I was just kind of going about my business. And so he eventually kind of wandered over to where I was at and wanted to kind of gossip a little bit about his son. And, I'm just kind of, doing my thing while he's talking, And eventually he said something along the lines of, that's not what good Christians like we would do, is it? Expecting me to back him up, against his son, not being a good Christian like us. And, I kind of just said, hey, look, I'm not a Christian at all, so don't think that you can include me with this. I don't believe in that at all. And so pretty soon it came out, no, I don't believe I'm an atheist. I don't believe any of that. And so then he tries to drop the bombshell on me and tell me that he's a Baptist minister. And he's going to inform me that I'm going to hell and all this stuff. And so I go ahead and reply to him that, I used to be an ordained minister myself. And so now he's in a conversation with somebody that knows everything he knows plus. And I just eviscerated him on the spot with, any argument he could throw at me. And he ended up, just retreating with Pascal's wager and running for the hills. But after that, And we didn't. It wasn't an argument. It was just kind of a back and forth. And and I was able to, counter everything. And explain why that wasn't necessarily the case. And so it eventually, he kind of threw out Pascal's wager and went on about his business. And, there was no argument or anything like that. It didn't get heated or anything. And he changed. His opinion of me changed from that day forward. No longer was I a friend. I was, an evil atheist. And he would make it a point to bring that up, every chance he got afterwards. And no longer, like I said, no longer was I a friend. And that really irritated me, just because I don't believe the exact same thing he does, and I have damn good reasons for not believing what he does. All of a sudden, I'm an evil, wicked person, and he don't want his kids hanging out with me no more. And I eventually ended up leaving the job, not necessarily because of this, but, that was, thrown out and in there. And like I said, it really bothered me that people still, 20 years later were saying the same stupid things that weren't true. Same stereotypical things about people who didn't believe the way they do, and just really condescending, and just, it really bothered me. It was really disgusting, in my opinion. And so that kind of lit a fire under me, and I decided, what can I, just some guy, I'm a construction worker, what am I going to do about this? Sorry for the train. So I went home, and I didn't really, talk to my wife about it or anything, but she noticed, I started doing a lot more homework and research and things like that, which I already had a really big collection of religious material, and which people always thought was funny because I'm not a religious person, and everybody who knows me comes into my house and looks at this collection of ancient texts and things that I have. I think it's kind of funny. But she knew I already had all that stuff, so she knew there was kind of something to it, but didn't really know the whole story behind it. We never really talked about it. And so, I decided, well, maybe I should just write a book, just write some kind of memoirs or something, and try to explain to people that, atheists aren't, the evil, wicked people that you hear about in sermons. They're really not. I mean, and so I sat down and decided I was going to write a book, and I was digging around on the internet and stuff like that, and came across people like Richard Dawkins, Christopher Hitchens, and I'm like, what do I need to write a book for? These guys have already done it. And so I started hanging out at a few forums, message boards, things like that, and pretty soon I would be involved in discussions about this stuff and arguments and things like that. And I keep up to date on things like, what's William Lane Craig saying. I watch sermons on YouTube and things like that just to see what they're saying, because I left unchecked over 20 years, they're still saying the same crap. Nobody has pulled anyone aside and said, this isn't really how atheists are. This isn't what it means to be an atheist. And so, like I said, just that 20-year span from the time that I was, hot and heavy into church to the time that this guy confronted me, who was a Baptist minister. And so I understand now what he's saying to his congregation. Nothing had changed in that time. So I figured, well, maybe it's time for me to open my mouth and not just be apathetic about it, but say, hey, this is what I believe, this is why I'm this way, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I figured more people feel the way I do that than express themselves. I mean, a lot of people don't do that, can't do that for various reasons, and I don't have like a lot of close family or anything to cast me out or anything because of this. So I'm in a position where I can actually speak my opinion. And it wasn't long before people were contacting me saying, hey, I appreciate what you say. I feel the same way. I just can't say it because of certain reasons. And so that's kind of my motivator now. One is kind of stop the madness type thing to kind of break up the stereotypes and let people know that we are out there, and that not everything you've heard in church is quite true. And also for other people who can't say, the kind of things that I say. I've got I don't want to say I have a fan base or anything, but there are a group of people for every one of me doing what I do, there are hundreds of people behind us that can't speak their minds, but they got our back, put it that way. So it's one of them kind of things. You know, I can't sit down on the sidelines my entire life. Somebody needs to get up, do something, say something. Why am I not one of those people? So that's basically my motivator. I'm not sadomasochist, torturing myself, watching sermons and reading William Lane Craig. It's more of a matter of I want to stay abreast on the topic and keep my opinion relevant to the topic. Because, like I said, left to their own devices, they're just going to run wild. And they need a check, and here I am, and here's people like me. And that's basically why I do what I do. So hopefully that answers the question and gives you a little bit of a heads up on me. So, until next time, take care, everybody.